Danganronpa.
Right, I'm gonna mess up the timeline a little bit here. We're just gonna load that last save. What I'm gonna do, instead of doing, you know, this or island modes, or, you know, looking for the hidden scenes and all that, which I know is in this, I really want to read this. So, yeah. This is gonna be uploaded after all the extra stuff, but I just want to do this now because I want to know. The following novel contains references to characters who appeared in the novel Danganronpa. I need to zero them apparently. Okay, what do we have? Okay, we got Lucky Boy, who isn't Lucky Boy. That's a lie. Moral compass. So this is just Dangan 1. We Dangan 1 again. How many boxes are those meant to be Krispy Kreme donuts? Okay. Alright. Ah, damn. I'm liking the illustration now, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, let's go. Let's read this shiz. Ah, God. Monokuma's monologue. The world is full of ifs. If Adam hadn't tied the knot with Eve, society as we know it would never have been born. The world that everyone lives in is just one outcome among countless ifs, and will continue to be molded or be muddled. God. I'm like, what? I'm 2 minutes in. I'm not even 2 minutes in. I'm already wording wrong. This is what happens if you do things first thing in the morning. Okay. The world is that. Yeah, I'm dying. Why? How am I fucking up already? The world that everyone lives in is just one outcome among countless ifs, and will continue to be a muddled world overflowing with infinite ifs. If is what. Why is if always in capitals? Like, I get it because, you know, Danganronpa if, but why are you stressing? If is what's in miso soup, you know? I don't know what this came up in fucking Yakuza 0. I don't know what miso soup is. You want me to add shit to it? I don't know what it is. What lies beyond this point? The scary world filled with iffy ifs. Iffy. I like that. Okay. I like that. Okay. With iffy stepfathers who abandon their families. A Klein bottle where the inside and the outside are filled with uncertainty. Ah, but don't break it, okay? It'd be so expensive that there's no way you'd ever be able to pay me back. But no matter how you look at it, ifs are simply the worlds like any other. No matter how hypothetical the story may be, the future is the only thing that's truly foggy. And the past is more solid than a frozen banana. Who freezes bananas? You can't change a conclusion that has already happened. Even if you see a world that may have existed, it wouldn't affect the people living in reality. Because if is only if, after all. Even if a parallel world exists where a particular if actually happened, humans cannot cross the boundaries between worlds that easily. No matter how far if goes, it will always be a what if scenario. Do you really want to see that? You've got some sick interests. Don't you think it's an insult to Makoto and the others after the tragedy they overcame? So, as far as I'm concerned, I'll still insult them. If you're gonna look at if, I think it's better if you view the outside of a Klein bottle first. What is a Klein bottle? Like, it's what Calvin Klein? Like, what is a Klein? This is like the second reference now. What is a Klein bottle? It may even be better. Yeah, it might even be better if. Yeah, that's fucking me up now because I'm seeing if. Ow. I'm seeing if as its own individual word, not as if as in how if is used in a sentence. So every time I'm seeing if capitalized, my brain isn't connecting. It's just if. It's like, no, that's a noun. We're using that as a noun now, so this sentence shouldn't work, but it's messing with me. I hope it's not going to continue. It might be even better if you view the ending of a video game called Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. To play it multiple times and spend your free time with Junko and Mishima at least 3 times too. I did in fact. I did do that in fact. It might be ideal if you can collect all the items and movies too. I've collected all the movies, I have not collected all the items yet. That is on my to-do list. The only items I have left are from the goddamn school mode endings from each individual character. I need to do that. I'm going to do that eventually. But if you guys have come this far, I'm sure you've already done all that. Yeah, I've done most of that. Still, I'd buy the game if I were you. I'd actually buy at least 2 copies if I were you. The curtain lowers. Ah, yay! The bottom of hope, the tragic warriors of despair. Ah, damn. What should I do with this? Makoto Naegi was at a loss. Despite his hesitation, his situation was extremely simple and composed of 3 key factors. The first factor was that Makoto was currently locked inside the school. Hopi Academy is a school for the privileged elite, and each student attending possesses an ultimate talent. Makoto was chosen to attend Hopi Academy by a lottery held to select the ultimate lucky student. That makes no sense then, because there's a reserve course. Or was it just a lottery of normal people to get into the you know, ultimate course? No, okay, yeah, it was that. Okay, never mind then. When he arrived on his first day at school, he immediately lost consciousness, and when he woke up, he saw all the exits and windows had been sealed shut. The next factor was Monokuma, a mysterious robot bear being operated by the mastermind. Then the announcement he made to all the students. You'll be living your whole life in this academy, he declared. If you want to leave, then kill someone and become the Blackened. This strange, remote-controlled robot was telling Makoto and his fellow Ultimates to start killing each other in exchange for their freedom. They learned that more than one Monokuma exists, and each one contains a bomb to prevent anyone from attacking them. On top of that, Monokuma announced that anyone who attempted to harm him will receive punishment. The third and final factor was the red button that Makoto was currently holding in his hand. The words escape button were crudely written on... Wait, so this if is what if Makoto just got the escape button from the Monokuma machine right away because of luck? Okay. And then the first 2 factors were certainly causes for panic. Makoto only seemed at a loss over the third. During his free time, Makoto noticed that the school store was open, and his curiosity got the better of him. He was overwhelmed by the disjointed atmosphere upon entering, but his attention soon focused on a strange vending machine. The words Mono machine were written on it, and it seemed to accept strange bear-printed coins that they sometimes found inside the school. It seemed like a bad idea, but Makoto thought there might be a chance that the machine could dispense some way of escaping the school. And so he inserted the only coin he had into the coin slot, and the result was the escape button mentioned earlier. Luck boy, this Naruto looking motherfucker. There's a limit to how much he can tease us. Maybe the mastermind who trapped us here was making a cruel joke. These thoughts filled Makoto's mind, and he began to feel deeply discouraged. However, there is always a chance, right? Makoto was just an ordinary boy, and he only gained entry into Hopi Academy through a lottery to find the ultimate lucky student. Maybe that luck was the real deal. Who would win in a luck battle? Makoto or Nagito? Because Makoto never utilizes his luck. He's said to be the ultimate lucky student, but he never utilizes it. Nagito is said to be it and utilizes it constantly. So whose luck would win out? If this button is real, maybe I can let Sayaka. Makoto took a deep breath, or a deep, slow breath, and pressed the button. Instantly, pain burst through his entire body. Ah? Makoto's arms and legs went numb, and he lost balance and he fell to the floor in a crumbled heap. As he breathed heavily, it dawned on him what had happened. I got electrocuted. He looked down at the button in his hand and noticed a small needle sticking out of it. Makoto quickly surmised the electric current must have been running through. Okay, so his luck isn't great. After regaining enough of his strength to stand back up, Makoto thought about it once again. I should have known it was fake. Just how sick and twisted was that mastermind? My head still was a little woozy. I should go back to my room and rest today. With that in mind, Makoto walked out of the school store with slow, careful steps. But Makoto didn't know yet. If the escape button really was fake, it would have been an act of mercy from the mastermind. A small bear-shaped shadow began moving around inside the now empty school store. The shadow, Monokuma, stood before the Mono machine and stared at it silently. But after some time had passed, he began to laugh, a cold, hollow laugh utterly devoid of emotion. Despite the fact that he was alone, Monokuma began to talk almost as if he was speaking to someone. Perhaps Monokuma was talking directly to the mastermind controlling him. I only put that in the Mono machine because I thought it would be interesting if one of the last few survivors happened to win it. But with a success rate of 0.0000001%, and therefore anyone would actually win it, perhaps I should have expected the ultimate lucky student to overcome such impossible odds. Monokuma started blushing and breathing heavily for no apparent reason. A robot like Monokuma doesn't need to breathe, but because of his technology, is super advanced, he can express himself like a living creature. Makoto was chosen through a lottery, and now he's won the escape button through a lottery. This is obviously impossible, right? Is this a miracle? Well, is this what a miracle is? Is this all systems go towards escaping? It's something that defies all common sense, about to come crashing into my world. Huff, huff. Well, even though I don't really want this at all, I'm starting to enjoy this new sensation. We'll be back after these commercials. Monokuma's internal machinery began running at full capacity, and his facial expressions began changing more smoothly than a human's could. Suddenly, his expression immediately stopped, and he whispered through his speakers. But is this really good luck? After might have been something so anonymous, Monokuma's loud screeching laughter rang jarringly through the room. The situation that was about to unfold contained two conflicting emotions in equal measure, hope and despair. The next day, nighttime, student dormitory, Makoto's room. Makoto naked on his bed, desperately struggling with the despair and hope churning within him. Monokuma had forced the students to watch a DVD earlier that day. Makoto's showed a scene that suggested his parents and little sister were in danger, and he now found himself determined to leave the school. It seems the other students were forced to watch shocking videos of their own. Videos so shocking, they were now determined to escape the school too, even if it meant sacrificing someone to do it. However, it was obvious that these videos were part of Monokuma's trap. As long as a student killed someone, they were allowed to graduate and leave the academy. The thing that the mastermind controlling Monokuma was hell-bent on making the students kill each other. But right now, Makoto was most worried about Sayaka Mizuno, who seemed to be incredibly distressed after watching her DVD. Sayaka wasn't just the ultimate pop sensation, she was also Makoto's classmate when they were students back at Blackroot Junior High. Was it ever mentioned in the first game the name of the school? Her optimism had been encouraging Makoto these past few days, and he was becoming... he was becoming a similar source of strength for her as well. If nothing else, I have to at least save Sakuya. As soon as Makoto thought that, he suddenly felt a small headache. Was he still reeling from being punched by Mondo the other day? Or was this a side effect of being electrocuted by the escape button? As Makoto pondered these things, the pain slowly subsided, and he returned to his determined thoughts of escape. Anyway, we all need to work together, and... At that moment, Makoto realised his skull had changed slightly. We all need to. Ideally, it would be best if everyone survived together. However, aside from Sayaka, Makoto had never met the other students before. He didn't know if they could even be trusted in the first place. But at that moment, he trusted them without even an ounce of suspicion. He believed they were worth helping, even at the cost of his own life. Just like Sayaka. Why? The headache struck again, as if all the blood vessels in his brain would be individually sliced open. Why did I just think that I could trust the others as much as I trust Sayaka? Makoto tried to figure out why his thought process had suddenly changed. Something was wrong. The throbbing pain in his head seemed to synchronize with the strange feeling that something was approaching him. As a ray of light began to form within the dark recesses of his own mind, the doorbell rang. Someone's here? He quickly got out of bed, but that only made the headache worse. With no concern for his own safety, Makoto carelessly opened the door to his room and came face to face with Sayaka. I'm really sorry to come by so late. Sayaka? The pain. What are you doing out so late? The moment he saw her face, the pulsating pain in Makoto's head began accelerating. He felt like his world was being torn apart from the inside out. Sorry to bother you, but something really weird just happened, and Makoto, what's wrong? You don't look so well. Sayaka was pale and had been trembling when she came to Makoto's room, but she seemed surprised to see his complexion was worse than her own. Oh yeah, I'm fine, it's just my head. Makoto couldn't finish his sentence. His eyes rolled back into his head, and he lost consciousness as he slowly fell onto the floor. And Sayaka's beautiful voice let out a scream as she stood over Makoto's body. The next day, nurse's office. Ah yeah, Sayaka's death plan didn't work out. Oh, you're awake. Hey, you okay? How many fingers am I holding up? As Makoto regained consciousness, he was greeted by the sight of fingers adorned with long frank nails being waved in his face. Huh? You're Junko, right? Yeah, Junko, let's go with that. Hey, why do you sound so unsure? I'm a little shocked to hear you say that. Despite what she said, Junko and Mishima, the ultimate fashionista, was laughing as if she found this all very amusing. Makoto looked around and realised he had never seen this place before. It looked somewhat like a hospital. 3 beds, including his own, were lined up in the room with various medical instruments laid around them. The black ceiling felt strangely oppressive, but as he sat up, Makoto's mind immediately centered on one possibility. Where are we? Did we get rescued? That'd be nice, huh? She replied as she looked away. Junko explained that this was the nurse's office on the first floor of the academy. That Monokuma thing said, I can't bear to see a precious students get sick, and opened this place up this morning. But don't you think it's suspicious? What if all these meds are poison? To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised. Makoto remembered his encounter with the escape button and let out a small sigh. So why am I here, Junko? You should thank Sayaka for that. How's that said? Is that? Or what? She was here the whole night taking care of you. She was? Junko ignored Makoto's surprise and continued casually talking. But then Taka got all fired up and was like, we should take turns watching over him. I just happened to be on duty when you woke up. Well, and even then, only cause Byakuya ditched. Yeah, I see. Thanks. Like I said, you should thank Sayaka. Anyway, how are you feeling? Is everything alright? Huh? Makoto thought about it for a moment and remembered what he had been thinking about just before he lost consciousness. It's kind of weird, but actually, it's a really weird question, but what's up? Junko, we've never met each other before, right? Upon hearing this, Junko's eyes widened, but a few seconds later, she began to laugh. Huh? Are you for real? That pickup line is like so totally played out, you know. Even though she was grinning, a serious look came over her face. Just so you know, you shouldn't expect anything like that from me. I know I look this way, but I take my virtue pretty seriously. No, I mean, I never expected. Well, that's what I figured. It's obvious that you're a total amiga. We're doing this again. Makoto and Junko continue to talk to one another. We're just doing the yes link again. Although he wondered why Junko was talking to him instead of leaving to get the others, Makoto didn't question it. He just wanted to talk to someone, anyone. As long as he interacted with his fellow students, he believed he would learn the truth about what's going on inside his head. 10 minutes later, Junko mostly talked about alpha males and omega males, her time being homeless, and her part. Yeah, we just skimmed through. We just skimmed through her S-link. Report card get. Underwear get, apparently. And the last topic was a lot heavier than the previous ones, but Makoto's calm demeanor seemed to cheer her up. She smiled sincerely and said softly, "Thanks, Makoto." It was a sign of gratitude for listening to her troubles, but she kept that same smile as she blurted out something horrifying. In return, I promise that if I do decide to kill someone, it won't be you. Don't say scary stuff like that. At least, that's what Makoto thought but the words that came out of his mouth expressed a different sentiment. I see, thanks. But I wouldn't want you to become a blackened in the first place. For some reason, Makoto felt like the murderous words that came out of Junko's mouth seemed like a natural thing for her to say. She seemed very surprised by Makoto's response and quickly blurted out, "Huh? Are you serious? I was just kidding." "Huh? Oh. Oh yeah, of course. Sorry for acting so weird." No worries. Let's just chalk this up to you being woozy from your recovery." She returned to her usual bubbly self, let out a big stretch, and turned to Makoto. "I'm gonna get going now. Make sure you don't get killed before the next person arrives." After seeing her off, Makoto laid back down in the bed and started thinking to himself. What is this strange feeling? His dull headache continued as his thoughts began to blur. Oh, is it his memories? Is that his memories? Is that it? It's like the electric was like, okay. The shock messed with his brain to like, okay, memories. Memories of memories are coming back. Oh boy. Because if so, that's the thing. Yeah, I was just talking to Junko, but I feel like I was talking to someone else. Who is she? The more he thought, the more it felt like his memories were sinking into a thick swamp. Each throb of pain pulsing in his head felt like a wave on the surface of a swamp. What is this feeling? It felt very unpleasant, as though someone's voice was screaming at him from inside his head. Makoto tried to organise his thoughts and go over everything that had happened to him, but he was interrupted by the sound of a bell. Unlike the dorm rooms, the nurse's office didn't have a doorbell. The bell sound that Makoto heard was ringing throughout his entire building. Testing, mic check, 1, 2. This is a test of the school broadcast system. It was Monokuma's voice. Now that Makoto has finally woken up, please assemble at the gym. Makoto listened to Monokuma's heartless order and got out of bed without complaining. I have to go. He walked one step at a time in accordance with the rhythm of his throbbing headache. Slowly he walked forward, not knowing if where he was heading was heaven or hell. The gym. Makoto, are you alright? Sayaka ran over to Makoto as soon as he entered the gym. Yeah, thanks. Sorry about yesterday. I guess I really worried you. Please don't apologise. I'm sorry too. I barged into your room when you weren't feeling well. Now that you mention it, said Makoto. What happened yesterday? Sayaka looked away for a brief moment, but immediately turned back, smiled her pop sensation smile, and shook her head. Oh, it's nothing. I'll tell you some other time. Huh? While they were talking, Kiyotaka Ishimaru, the ultimate moral compass, stepped forward, pointing an accusatory finger at Makoto. You're late, Makoto. Explain why you were tardy. The other students collectively raised their eyebrows, as if they were thinking, why is this guy yelling at someone who is sick? However, Makoto just smiled gently and answered him honestly. I didn't feel well, so I was resting in the nurse's office. Hey, note that in the daily logbook? I see. That's consistent with my information. If that's the case, then I shall consider this matter settled. The conversation progressed smoothly, and Taka smiled as he kept talking. I'll take full responsibility for recording it. You just focus on recovering. If you ever feel ill, please report to the health committee. We have a health committee? Yeah, huh? It seems we'll need to appoint a health committee. Alright, after this meeting though. Taka walked away mumbling to himself as he opened the daily logbook he found in the academy's supply room. Celestia Ludenberg, the ultimate gambler, saw the whole conversation and walked up to Makoto. Despite his unreasonable behaviour, you knew exactly what to say to him. Huh? As soon as Celestia said that, it dawned on Makoto. It's true that he didn't feel well and that he had been resting in the nurse's office. But when Taka asked him why he was late, even though he should have already known the reason, Makoto didn't feel annoyed or disappointed at all. It was as if he expected Taka to say that. Makoto thought it strange that he had accepted Taka's personality so quickly. He couldn't understand why he asked Taka to do something as necessary as recording it in the daily log. Yeah, his memories. Okay, that's the way this is going. Okay, this is cool. Why did I say that? Just like I was used to it. His response to Taka's demands came as naturally as him breathing. Why? Every time he tried to think about it, his headache grew even worse, as Makoto struggled to think through the pain of his headaches. A black and white stuffed animal jumped out from behind the gym's podium and began twirling around as it spoke in a cheerful voice. Hey guys, is everyone here? It sounded like he was about to lead the students on a school trip, or on a field trip, but not a single one of them had a smile on their face. What is it this time? Are you gonna hijack a cruise ship and run into a gigantic worm? What? Of course, there was one exception. Yasuhiro Hakagure, the ultimate clairvoyant, still believed that this current situation was some kind of planned event. Monokuma just ignored him and continued to address the students with his adorable voice. Today, I'm going to tell you about our wonderful academy system. System sure sounds like a great word, don't you think? It reeks of danger, just like a bear. I want you all to tremble over the deaths of your friends and grow up to have hardened hearts. It's good to be a little naughty. I want you all to grow poisonous personalities. After making his nonsensical introduction, Monokuma moved on to his next topic. With this, he began providing a detailed explanation of the most vile system of the school, the class trial. Now, you can't just kill someone. You gotta kill someone without anyone else finding out who did it. Monokuma talked about his horrible graduation program with casual indifference. But because the killing hadn't happened yet, his lecture didn't instill any despair in the students. As long as the killing never occurred, there'd be no point in the class trial. But no one could really say that a killing wasn't going to happen. As the students' suspicions began to raise, Monokuma continued to explain the class trial until... Wait, hold on a second. As Monokuma began to explain the executions that would serve as punishment, one girl stepped forward. Junko. As soon as he saw how angry she was, the rhythm of Makoto's headache began to change slightly. You're freaking insane, you know that? Huh? The girl continued to complain angrily. She seemed completely different from the smiling person Makoto saw in the nurse's office. Oh, was Junko always like that? No, she's different. That's how Junko acts, but... Is that person really Junko? Huh? Wait, what am I thinking? As Makoto struggled with his headache and confusion, Monokuma and the girl continued to argue. What, are you saying you're not going to participate in the trial? Only punishment awaits you for such blasphemy. See, now this is, I get it was staged, but this always bothered me. Because it's like, if you attack Monokuma, then you'll be punished. Junko never did that. Like, again, I get it was staged, but it always bothered me how this was just a random, outside of it being staged, it was just a random act of just murder, and it just bothered me. I might, I don't know, throw you into a deep, dark, scary prison or something different. A strange feeling he felt was now directed at Monokuma. A prison? No, they aren't that kind. A series of images flashed in Makoto's mind. At first he thought it was some kind of parade, but he quickly realised it was a mistake. It looked like lights were actually buildings engulfed in flames. The red decorating this scene seemed to come from human bodies. Despair. It wasn't confined to the academy or even Japan. Images of worldwide death and destruction flooded Makoto's brain with every throb of his headache. I've seen this before. Besides, the indescribable violence taking place in all these images, there was one thing they had in common. Who are they? They are rampaging terrorists wearing black and white masks were wreaking havoc in these images. It took everything: money, valuables, lives, families, dignity, the past, the future, and possibly even hope. The mask these terrorists were wearing perfectly resembled the face of a stuffed animal arguing with a student before him. Shut the hell up. Say whatever you want. I'm not going to take part in this. Being so selfish. You're the one being selfish. Kill whoever you want. I'm not going to... Yeah, it's got nothing to do with me. The evil standing here before me. I'm trembling with fear. But I won't give in to such evil. It's my style to stick it out and resist until the very end. If you really want to get out of here, you have to go through me first. Monokuma swung his arms wildly as he charged at the girl with waddling steps, but the girl stepped on the self-proclaimed headmaster of the academy with ease. Are you enjoying yourself now? Pinned beneath the girl's foot, Monokuma looked up at the girl's cold eyes and calmly asked, "Are you? Huh? Violence against the headmaster Monokuma is not allowed. You violated school regulation." At that moment, a chill ran down Makoto's spine. She's gonna get killed. Monokuma's words sounded very threatening to him. It wasn't a prediction or a guess. it was as if he knew the danger Monokuma posed from the start. It just continues. Junko's going to... His mind still didn't fully grasp the situation unfolding in front of him. By the time he realized he was able to remember something, he was already running forward. Junko? The impact of his feet combined with the rhythm of his headache sent his brain and heart into a panic. No, she's different. She's... I invoke the mighty summon spell. Help me. Help. To me, godly spear Gunye. Monokuma wiggled beneath the girl's foot and let out a scream. At that exact moment, Makoto charged her and screamed out, Mukuro, watch out. Huh? A girl dressed as Junko Enoshima widened her eyes in shock. As if to evade the charge of Makoto, she jumped back with agility unheard of in a teenage high school girl. And then, right at that moment, countless spears pierced the spot where she had been standing a split second ago. All the students, including the girl, stared wide-eyed at the sudden turn of events. Spears, too many of them to count, had shot out at blinding speed from mechanisms installed in the floor and walls of the gym. However, Makoto was unable to notice this. Huh? Why did I call Junko Mukuro? Mukuro? As that thought entered his mind, a sharp sudden impact struck his sides, followed by an intense, deathly pain that ran down his spine and spread throughout his entire body. The spear stabbed into his sides, instantly tore his flesh to shreds, and shot out of his back, coated in blood and other body fluids. At that moment, the black fog that had engulfed Makoto's mind consumed by death himself. And as his consciousness slowly faded, he remembered everything. Because of that electric jolt and the chemical compounds. Wait, what chemical compound from this escape button? Okay. Because of that button, he had found by chance, and Takanagi managed to escape. He escaped this hopeless game where he and his fellow students had their memories stolen and were forced to kill each other. Of course, that escape is also what led him to his current life or death predicament. In the end, perhaps he only escaped from one despair and fall to another. But at the same time, his actions had unintended consequences for one person. The girl living a false identity as her beloved little sister Junko Enoshima, Mukuro Ikusawa, the ultimate soldier, and a member of Ultimate Despair. Her past, her future, perhaps even her hope itself, are on the path of despair. Whatever that means. And so the curtain falls on Makoto's story for now. From this point, this story is about a certain girl. A girl who's more pitiful than anyone else in the Sildorf Academy. A new curtain, along with new despair, shall now arise. Whatever that means. End chapter, maybe? Huh? Time had certainly stopped for Mukuro Ikusawa. It was as if everything around her had frozen perfectly still. In the past, she was known as the Ultimate Soldier. She had experienced this feeling before, during her time as with the mercenary group Fenrir. In situations where she was surrounded by a hopeless number of enemies within the jungle or a desert ruin, the charging enemies seemed as though they were frozen in time, which allowed her to claim a decisive victory in all her battles. But this wasn't a battlefield, so why did a similar sensation activate once again? So she just has bullet time. The Ultimate Soldier just has inbuilt bullet time. Okay. In order to understand what had happened, Mukuro slowly tried to assess the current situation from within her frozen world. Junko and Mukuro were both children of despair, but Junko Enoshima, the true Ultimate Despair, harbours a far deeper darkness within her. Though their last names were different, Mukuro is Junko's older sister connected by bonds of blood. She cooperated with Junko's hopeless plan and impersonated her under the pretense of participating in the killing game along her classmates. According to the plan, Mukuro was supposed to oppose Monokuma, who her sister was controlling, and be locked in a dungeon as punishment. Isolated from the others, she would then escape the dungeon and perform various acts intended to deprive the students of hope. That was the role she had been assigned. When Makoto succumbed to his headache, Junko ordered her to see if the shock had caused him to remember anything that could make him a liability. He woke up as she was tending to him so she made small talk with him, but she didn't notice any change in his behaviour. Until this point, she was certain that there shouldn't be any problems. Nothing could possibly go wrong. She stomped on Monokuma like her sister ordered her to, and flawlessly spoke the lines she was taught to memorise. Afterward, she would fall through a trapdoor into the dungeon and remain isolated from the other students. That was her role. She hadn't done anything wrong. There were no problems. There were no problems. She repeated that to herself over and over, like a silent prayer. But in that frozen moment in time, what she saw was not a trapdoor, but countless spears. One of them had skewered Makoto through his sides. Why? Makoto. Why are there spears? Ganya. I would have died if I didn't move, or if I hadn't moved. Did Junko mess up the plan? No, Junko would never mess up. Was she trying to kill me? Me. Makoto saved me. Why? Why did he say my name? Did his memories come back? Did I not realise that? Did I make a mistake? Is that why Junko got angry? Is this punishment? Is this my fault? Junko tried to kill me. Kill me. Kill me. Kill me. Slowly, time came back to her world. Mukuro could feel her face turning pale. She slowly looked toward Makoto. The student's screams rang throughout the gym. Sakura was probably the first one to scream. But who screamed first didn't matter to Mukuro. Makoto. Why? Makoto was the ultimate lucky student. He had been her classmate for the past 2 years, and now he was sacrificed to despair. Not long ago, he had given her an answer of sorts during a conversation in the nurse's office. He was just a pawn in the plan her sister had devised, but now a feeling of doubt began forming in Mukuro's mind. What did I want from Makoto? As her heart churned restlessly, she continued to think. In return, I promised that if I decide to kill someone, it won't be you. Was I impersonating Junko then? Or did I really mean that? When did I start feeling this doubt? Just now, the moment he saved me? Or when we spoke in the nurse's office earlier? Or when I first confronted him about the killing game, before his memories returned? Or was it before even that? Mukuro stood there, confused and overwhelmed, as Makoto slowly opened his eyes, the spear still impaining him through his side. Ah, Mukuro? Makoto, are you okay? Mukuro was no longer impersonating the ultimate fashionista. Looking up from the floor of the gym, Makoto said, "Why are you dressed up like Junko?" He was smiling. Maybe he couldn't feel the pain anymore, or maybe he was being affected by something else. But regardless, Makoto ignored the fact that he was dying, just to give Mukuro his warm smile. I'm glad you're safe, Mukuro." As soon as she heard Makoto's weak, fading voice, something inside Mukuro snapped. From within the shell of despair that she had built up, an intense emotion began flowing out. No, this is all wrong. She couldn't hold back that emotion any longer. No. I'm putting so much emotion into this reading, I know. And for the first time in her entire life, Mukuro unleashed a scream into the world. As Mukuro fell to her knees and clenched her head, a small shadow started walking toward her back. A stuffed animal that had been underfoot, Monokuma. His claws were extended, and he was no longer walking his usual waddle pace. Instead, he moved like a beast silently stalking its prey as he slowly advanced within the target's blind spot. As he inched closer to Mukuro, Monokuma raised his razor-sharp claws, crouched on his haunches? Haunches? I don't know what it is. And suddenly leapt toward the back of her neck. However, just before those claws could reach the paralyzed Mukuro, a dark shadow moved in from the side and swatted the claws away with one blow. His lungs affected, Monokuma was sent flying through the air, spinning wildly before crashing into a wall. Damn you, what are you trying to do? Sakura Ugami, the ultimate martial artist, had just prevented another tragedy. She stood before Monokuma and addressed him in a loud, booming voice. Not only did you attempt to kill Junko for violating school regulations, you even attacked Makoto, who had nothing to do with this. If you plan to continue acting in such a savage manner, there is no reason for us to play along with your game. Miyake Togami, the ultimate affluent progeny, smirked condescendingly at Sakura. Fool. One could say you've now violated the school regulations with your senseless actions. He looked as if he honestly did not care if his fellow students lived or died at all. Well, she merely deflected the headmaster's attack just now. I do not think that truly counts as an act of violence. Like Byakuya, Celeste seemed unfazed as she chided him over his words. However, the banter between the two was enough to stir the stunned students into action. Well, Makoto. Sakura was the first one to run to Makoto, or Sayaka was the first one to Makoto, who lay bleeding from his stomach. But Monokuma stopped her, shouting in a tone of voice that seemed completely out of character. Be careful, don't get too close to those two. Huh? Startled by Monokuma's desperate tone, Sayaka and the others stopped moving, almost instinctively. The students looked at each other, instead of his usual playful gait? I don't know. Monokuma walked toward them with deliberate, methodical steps, and then he suddenly blurted out something that took everyone, including Mukuro Kusaba, by surprise. I'm sure you're probably confused by the sudden turn of events. I want you guys to work together. As Mukuro slowly turned her head toward Monokuma, he pointed at her and yelled, Mukuro Ikusaba and her accomplice Makoto Naegi are the terror responsible for locking you all in the academy. Once again, time stopped for Mukuro. This time, she wasn't the only one affected. Everyone seemed to be frozen in shock. After a few seconds of silence, Aoi Asahina, the Ultimate Swimming Pro, spoke first. Huh? You're kidding, right? I mean, Makoto is a terrorist? That's impossible. And who's Mukuro anyway? I mean, that's Junko. Monokuma began slowly explaining to Aoi. The real Junko must be imprisoned somewhere in this school. Worst case scenario, she might be killed. Mukuro must have researched which one of you would be easiest for her to impersonate, and hid among you, all by pretending to be her. She was probably trying to make sure the killing game went smoothly. Suddenly, Monokuma's hands and feet began jerking an awkward motion as he looked to the other students and introduced himself. What? I'm Basiki Madarai, the ultimate hacker. I'm the upperclassman. I hacked into the academy from the outside and was finally able to take control of Monokuma's body just a little while ago. Take control? From who? From the head of the terrorist organisation that's controlling this robot from the outside. What? What are you saying, Junko? Makoto trembled as she heard the words coming out of Monokuma's mouth. For a brief moment, she clung to the hope that her sister wasn't trying to kill her, but as soon as that hope was born, it immediately was consumed by despair. Junko had the power to transform hope into despair. She would never let anyone hack her that easily. There was no explanation. Junko and Oshima were pretending to be someone named Bishiki in order to frame Mukuro and Makoto. It is as though Junko was using Mukuro's survival as a branching path to lead the students into a different despair. Monokuma continued talking, telling the students more lies designed to put them into action. When you first entered the academy, you guys were exposed to sleeping gas, knocked unconscious and taken hostage. Mukuro and Makoto were probably the only operatives that the terrorists sent inside the school. That means they probably know how to escape from here. And then Monokuma turned to face Mukuro. Mukuro Ikusaba was a member of a mercenary group called Fenyu. She's a wanted criminal who's killed over 10... just with the school. Okay, I was about to say, over 10 people. Really? I think she's done more than that. Over 10 people associated with the school. So don't get soft and think you can capture her alive. In fact, that's exactly what the cops told me. So the moment I saw an opening, I tried hacking the trap that they set and tried to kill her. But what about Makoto? Monokuma gave a cold, emotionless answer to Sayaka's question. My guess is that a measly little ultimate lucky student didn't stand a chance of defying a group like Fenry. He was probably threatened and forced to cooperate before you entered the school, or judging from his only reactions, maybe Mukuro seduced him. Sayaka's face went pale when she heard that answer and immediately stopped talking. Mukuro raised her head and shouted, "You're wrong, Makoto isn't a terrorist. You all have to believe me." The whole gym fell silent, and then, as if he was speaking to everyone there, Taka stepped forward and nervously asked, "Hold on, what do you mean Makoto isn't a terrorist?" It sounds like you're saying that there's no doubt that you, in fact, are a terrorist. I ask that you correct yourself at once and say we're not terrorists. Celeste began expressing her own doubts as well. It is strange. Does it not seem odd that she is so protected of someone we all just met a few days ago? Mukuro stood in silence. The other students' faces began to feel suspicion and doubt as they realized they weren't looking at the real Junko Nishima. Byakuya pushed up his glasses and began coldly pointing out what what seemed out of place to him. I heard that fool Makoto, or whatever his name is, call you Mukuro instead of Junko. How would Makoto know what your name really is? That your name really is Mukuro, if he had just met you not long ago. I've also heard of Fenrir, continued Byakuya. As I recall, its members have a tattoo somewhere on their body. Instinctively, Byakuya's words put Mukuro into a calm state of mind. In hostile situations have defensive reflexes, as the ultimate soldier often manifested themselves. Mukuro's tattoo was on the back of her hand, or back of her right hand. She wondered how she could hide the tattoo from the other students without calling attraction to it. In the end, this concern was in vain. If the police records are true, she should have a tattoo on the back of her right hand. As Monokuma freely indulged in information. Alright, cried Taka, his voice filled with enthusiasm. Show us the back of your right hand and prove your innocence. Monokuma dispensed another unnecessary remark. Make sure you look real close, she might have covered it with foundation. Junko had ordered Mukuro to hide a tattoo of foundation, so Monokuma's information was entirely true. There was nothing Mukuro could do except stay silent. However, she wasn't staying silent because her identity was about to be exposed. She was struck by the realization that her sister was completely serious about pinning this on her. Why the hesitation? Shouted the foolishly honest Taka. As my classmate, I have complete faith in you. From behind him, Hifumi Yamada, the ultimate fanfic creator, murmured to himself as cold sweat ran down his cheeks. Well, look at that. I guess that's what they call a checkmate, huh? Why don't you just fess up already, you fucking bastards? In contrast to Hifumi, Mondo Awada, the ultimate bike gang leader, was royally pissed. However, there were some students who were busy questioning Monokuma instead of Mukuro. Hey, you're not coming to save us, shouted Leon Kawada, the ultimate baseball star. You should hurry up and charge in here already. Monokuma looked at Leon and shook his head softly. The police can't help you right now. Not only are you guys hostages, it's possible that this entire school has been rigged with explosive and poisonous gas. I hacked into this Monokuma robot to investigate that for myself. Then, what about everyone on that DVD? Everyone outside the school, asked Yaka. Remembering the DVD she was forced to watch yesterday still weighed heavily on her mind, but Monokuma did have a clear answer. I don't know anything about any DVDs, but there are definitely terrorists causing havoc out here. Law enforcement around the world is in shambles trying to deal with this. That's impossible. Sayaka shuddered and collapsed onto her knees. Sayaka, next to her, Chihiro Fujisaki, the ultimate programmer, was unsure of what she should do. Behind her, two other girls stood silently. The first was Toko Fukawa, the ultimate writing prodigy. She seemed to be trying very hard not to look at Makoto as he lay bleeding. The other was a quiet girl who hadn't talked about herself much, named Kyoko Kirigiri. Unlike Toko, Kyoko was watching everything intensely, as if she was studying the scene of a crime. From Makoto's breathing patterns and subtle changes in Muko's facial expressions, nothing was escaping her attention. Suddenly, Toko began nervously talking to Sakura. So anyway, let's just say that Mukuro woman, or whoever over there, is a terrorist. Hurry up and beat her to death or something. We don't know that yet, said Sakura. My fists do not mete out justice based on simple speculation. Sakura tried to get near Makoto to examine his wounds, but Monokuma stood in her way shouting, "Don't come any closer." This meant that Mukuro was the only one who could get close to Makoto. She had ended countless lives on the battlefield, she knew from experience. If she didn't treat Makoto's wounds, he would die. These wounds were not immediately fatal, but if he continued losing blood, he would eventually slip into the shock and die shortly after. Please, you need to treat Makoto first. Absolutely not, said Byakuya harshly, interrupting Mukuro. Tying you up and examining the back of your hand is our first priority. Hey, Makoto's in danger. Now's not time for that, said Aoi, as she cast worried gaze at Makoto. She was still having trouble understanding the situation, and hadn't decided if Makoto was suspicious or not. Byakuya was about to snap back at her, but Mukuro's action stunned him into silence. She took a deep breath and then She moved the blonde wig from her head, where there were 2 long blonde pigtails only a moment ago. There was now short black hair. She cleared her face of all emotion, and she spoke. Her voice rang throughout the gym. I am not Junko Inoshima. My name is Mukuro Ikusaba. The student stared wide-eyed at her open confession. All she did was remove her wig and clear her emotions. But in doing so, the person the students had recognized as Junko Inoshima vanished from their sight. The terrorist that had taken her place continued to speak in a calm, stoic tone. I helped lock everyone inside this academy. The confession on a seaside cliff moment has finally arrived. Hifumi blurted out. What? Wigs are against school regulations, Junko. I mean, Mukuro, shouted Taka. As if stirred by their cries of excitement, the other students began clamoring among themselves. Huh? Said Yasuhiro. So Makoto's wounds are, like, real? Does that mean that stuff about terrorists and whatever is real too? So everything that's happened up to these past few days wasn't a bunch of staged events? As the reality of the situation began dawning on Yasuhiro, all Leon could say to him was, "Shut the hell up. Thank you, Leon. You're a good boy." Byakuya just remained calm and addressed Mukuro in a condescending manner. What does your group want? If you were after money, you would have already tried to negotiate with me. Of course, I'd rather let them die than surrender to your ransom. Right, wow. Our purpose is to fill the world with despair. Byakuya scoffed at this notion and began to speak once again. I see. Monokuma said something similar. So that ideology is what fuels your terrorism. It's true that you did. Yeah, if you did anything to me, you would certainly fill the world with despair. But obviously, that would be impossible for you. Aoi couldn't believe that what Byakuya was saying, and frowned as she muttered, "How self-centered can you be?" After confirming that Byakuya had no more questions for her, Mukuro looked at Makoto, whose breathing had slowed, and let her voice show her emotion. But Makoto had nothing to do with this. You can't believe what Monokuma says. What did you say, bitch? Shouted Mondo. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're a terrorist, just like Monokuma said. Mukuro looked away from Mondo and continued speaking. That's true, but Makoto isn't involved at all. Celeste coldly brushed her objection aside. I do not think trying to protect him will do you any good. After all, we all heard Makoto call you by your real name. She had no words. There was nothing she could say to protect Makoto. Even though Makoto was truly innocent, and though Mukuro was the ultimate soldier, her powers were largely limited to battle. Even a normal high school student could outwit her when it comes to a debate and negotiation. If she were the ultimate negotiator, she might try to convince them that their memories had been erased. But in her current situation, if she tried to bring up their memory loss, they would think it was a desperate excuse. Even Mukuro knew that. But even if she didn't know what to say, she still knew what to do. Right now, we need to treat Makoto first. And then she started walking toward Makoto as if nothing had happened. To the others, it seemed like Mukuro had decided to abruptly change the subject. Hold it. We will immediately take Makoto to the nurse's office for treatment. However, we must tie you up. That was Sakura's honest demand. But there was no way Mukuro could accept that. If she was separated from Makoto, there'd be no telling what Monokuma would do to him. And between Mondo's hot temper and Byakuya's cold heart, Makoto could easily sustain further injuries from their pretense of interrogation. Furthermore, among these students, Mukuro knew she was the only one who had experience in treating wounds during her time with Fenrir. After running that over, she narrowed her eyes and went silent. Her mind was made up. She was determined to fight her way out of here and escape with Makoto. I apologize. I need you to fall asleep right now. As she said that, Sakura instantly positioned herself behind Mukuro. She was completely within her blind spot. To a normal person, it would seem like Sakura had suddenly vanished. After moving faster than any human could see, Sakura's equally fast hands launched a blow toward the back of Mukuro's neck. However, sorry Sakura, I was about to say, she's a soldier though, would this work? Sorry Sakura, but I need to get out of here. Mukuro parried Sakura's fist with a spinning roundhouse kick. Sakura raised an eyebrow, had an unexpected counter-attack. Mukuro tried to use the momentum of her kick to sweep Sakura's feet from under her. However, Sakura dodged and instinctively struck back against Mukuro's pivot leg, but Mukuro was faster and jumped, aiming a tornado kick at Sakura's chin. This is great. Sakura deflected the attack with one arm, and then both combatants leapt backwards, glared and charged simultaneously. Every blow they dealt was parried and countered by another, and though they were both unarmed, the sound of their battle echoed throughout the gym. It was like a typhoon had been compressed into the size of a car and set loose inside the gym. The other students were powerless to stop them, as all they could do was stare at the breathtaking dance of death unfolding before them. After 10 minutes had passed, 10 minutes? Makoto's dying! The enormous sound of the final impact rang throughout the gym. The two warriors leapt back once again, and breathed heavily as they stared each other down. My mistake. Though it's only been a few days, I cannot believe I did not notice such an impressive fighter was hiding among us. In addition to the surprise Sakura felt, also it was as if a battle had left her energized. Mukuro, on the other hand, looked down at her left arm, confirmed that she'd been wounded during the battle, and thought to herself, "She's strong. I don't think Sakura is even taking this seriously right now." In spite of being constantly surrounded by firearms, blades, traps, and explosives during her time in Fenrir, this was the first time she had been wounded. Mukuro was powerless before the might of the woman as the ultimate martial artist and the strongest woman in the world. Just as I thought, I can't beat Sakura with my bare hands alone. If she had been directly ordered to kill Sakura, Mukuro would have opted to either snipe her from a distance or poison her. At this close range, she would need an assault rifle just to stand a fighting chance. I don't have time for this. She looked at Makoto and confirmed that his breathing had grown even shallower. I need to hurry. But at that moment, she had no one to turn to for help. Suddenly, Mukuro had an idea. It was true that gaining an ally in the situation was impossible. However, she could still turn one person into her enemy's enemy. Mukuro took a deep breath before she charged Sakura, and then she immediately fainted and charged at a different girl, Toko, who had been cowering in fear from the battle between. Is she about to utilize Jill? This is bad. Sakura was caught off guard and tried to run after her, but Mukuro was one step ahead and reached Toko first. Why me? I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. What? Mukuro dragged Toko in the solar plexus. As she turned to her arms, Taka and Aoi yelled out in shock. This is bad. She plans to use Toko as a hostage. Toko. To contrast their shocked faces, Byakuya just snickered and coldly remarked, "You fool, do you really think we care if someone we just met a few days ago as a hostage?" Mukuro just softly glanced at Byakuya and replied, "You didn't meet her just a few days ago." "What did you say?" "You met her 2 years ago." Byakuya scowled. Mukuro ignored him and held her bloody arm in front of Toko's face, and then she yelled in her ears, "Wake up, Genocide Jack!" It seemed so random and out of place. Why would Mukuro mention the name of a notorious serial killer right now? The students looked at each other with confusion when suddenly, Toko, who had been groaning in pain, suddenly kicked off the floor of the gym with renewed vigour. She leapt into the air with much higher than any normal human should be able to do. While hovering several metres in the air, or in mid-air, Toko twirled faster than a professional figure skater. This caused her skirt to flutter, revealing multiple scissors, or pairs of sparkling scissors. Wow. Countless tally marks have been scratched into her. Really? Okay, that's a thing I didn't know. Like a kill count carved into a fighter jet. If not for the situation, Toko's glamorous jumps and spins would have been a sight to behold. The girl formerly known as Toko Fukawa, cackling wildly, her red eyes sparkling as her absurdly long tongue flopped out of her mouth. "You called for me and so I appear. I've got a murder IOU for you. Or an IOU for YOU. Alright, Toko." The situation had changed so drastically that even Sayaka, who was silent up until now, spoke up. "Hey, if you flash in the pan. Don't creep Genocide Jack like a depressing little four eyes. That dirty girl doesn't bathe herself at all, so I gotta put in 5 times the effort and run myself down in the shower." Alright. Toko's sudden change of personality sent the students clamoring among themselves. Hey, Leon yelled out. What the hell does that mean? Monokuma just shook his head. There are some things even I don't understand. The students continued to panic at the strange turn of events. Toko, now calling herself Genocide Jack, took out a set of scissors from under her skirt and snipped them with glee as she looked around the gym. Huh? Man, it's been a while since I got to stretch my legs. So, what were you guys going to do here in the gym while I was snoozing away? Have an orgy? I understand. I totally understand. You guys need me to cut up your clothes so you can feel even naughtier. Yeah, right, that's... Why the hell would I do that for you dumbasses? My scissors are only meant for cutting the supple tender flesh of adorable boys. Genocide Jack was causing a ruckus, but when she saw Makoto laying on the floor, she tilted her head once again. Huh? Big Mac, you're like totally about to die. What's the deal? Did the world fill you with so much despair that you all came here to commit mass suicide? That's so hot. But why are you starting without me? Toko cried Aoi. Get a hold of yourself. Genocide Jack ignored Aoi and let her emotions run unchecked, jumping and dancing with excitement as she held her scissors. Ah jeez, I wanted to stab Big Mac's side myself. His spot right here, where the ribs are kind of showing already. He's not even screaming right now though. What does this mean? Oh well, maybe I can just get used to this feeling of alienation instead. I have no idea what's going on anymore, shouted Yasuhiro. This is all the alien's fault. Yasuhiro buried his head in his arms, but no one was paying him any attention. The students' attention was entirely focused on Genocide Jack. Using that to her advantage, Mukuro began sneaking over to Makoto. As she cautiously picked him up, she confirmed that his body temperature was starting to decrease. I can still make it there in time. Though she was carrying another person, Mukuro managed to soften the sound of her footsteps as she ran to the gym's doors. By the time the students had heard Mukuro open the door, it was already too late. She managed to escape the gym with Makoto. However, not everyone was unaware of what Mukuro was doing. Monokuma saw her movements out of the corner of his eyes, but chose not to tell the other students. But one other person, Kyoko Kirigiri, she saw Mukuro carry Makoto away, and did not inform the others as she watched them leave in silence. As everyone wrestled with their own personal thoughts and speculations, Host P Academy began walking a path towards a completely different chaos. I tell you what, this is something. This is something. With Makoto on her back, Mukuro took several trophies from the school entrance hall, and after passing through the door leading to the hallway, she jammed the trophies through the door's handles. Though Sakura could easily destroy these makeshift locks, they should buy Mukuro a few extra seconds. Then Mukuro started running to the nurse's office, the place she last spoke to Makoto. Everything necessary in performing first aid could be found there. Her little sister was her enemy. Her fellow Ultimate students were her enemy. Her only ally right now was Makoto, who was on the verge of death. Mukuro knew that even she wasn't her own ally right now. Amidst all the chaos, amidst her sister's betrayal, and nearly being killed, she believed she was the only one who truly understood her little sister. That's why she felt like she had to protect her. That's right. She didn't do anything wrong, Junko. You just wanted to feel despair. That's There's a limit. I get it, but there's a limit. I get it, like sister love, but come on. Woman, because you love me, that's why you wanted to kill me. You were just trying to feel the fact that she understands. The fact that she understands and can rationalize it is worrying, but also a testament of how much she understands Junko. I'm sorry I failed to bring you despair. Don't think like that! You're alive! That's a good thing! But at the same time, she wondered, if she sees Makoto and betrays her sister by disrupting her plan, wouldn't that fill her with even stronger despair? Wouldn't that make her happy? But, betray Junko? What should I do? Mukuro closed her eyes and listened to Makoto's weak breaths. What should I do, Makoto? On a battlefield where all you need to do is kill and survive, Mukuro was invincible. She could suppress all of her emotions and fully immerse herself in becoming a perfect killing machine. But in this twisted battlefield of daily high school life, she could no longer keep her emotions in check, especially around her little sister. Mukuro, the ultimate soldier, was beginning to question being in ultimate despair. The impulses of the normal high school girl inside her were starting to affect her state of mind. Even so, the poor girl continued to run through the dark hallways, clinging to this conflict within herself. She was now walking along a narrow, hair-thin path, a path between the hope of Makoto Naegi and the despair of Junko and Nishima. Meanwhile, everyone still in the gym was there to say, you know what, I'm gonna cut it down, I'm gonna cut the episode there. That's gonna be a good place to cut, and I'm gonna pop back in.